This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, so last session we were discussing about the basic, just like kind of an intro to Linux. So since people are a little new to this Linux operating system, I just try to give you some context, some history, what happened around the Linux, right? So, and also once you have a Linux box with you, so how do you start looking and feel that particular machine, right? So you can start feeling about so what is it hardware, what is it software, and things like that, right? So pretty basic information we talked about. And Linux, everything is going to be a command line. Okay, so even though you have graphical interfaces, we don't actually run on graphical interfaces because graphical interfaces will eat unnecessary resources. And in the server side, our intention is a performance. And when the performance comes into picture, so the no graphical actually comes into picture. Okay, so certain tools will be there, so which is really needed a graphical thing. So for that particular tools, it's an exception, but in general, everything goes on command line. 90% or even more than that, 95% more than that, everything goes on command line. Okay, so we need to adopt the way of dealing with command line only, not the graphical. Okay, at least in in the world, like web application world, you will never see the graphical. Okay, might be some places like so some backend softwares like let's say databases, some database software, they might allow you to install over the graphical way. That's where you expect some graphical. Okay, apart from that, in the business, whatever we are talking about in the software development lifecycle, and especially in the application side, you will never need the graphical interface. It's all going to be a command line. Okay, so that's where we are going to execute all the time. It's all commands. Okay, so even though if it is graphical, so some other way you end up executing commands only. Okay, so for that, in Linux, the very first thing you have to keep in mind is, for anything you want to do, the first thing it has to hit you is what is the command. Okay, so first thing it has to struck to you is what is the command. Okay, so that's quite important. All right, so yeah, so, and that's why we're going to talk about commands. So hardly we'll get some around 35 to 40 commands, not more than that. We hardly get that much only. All right, so if you target at least 3-4 commands a day, okay, you can easily, in a week, you can become a much flexible, and over a period of time with more practice, you will get more confidence on that particular command, more options onto that particular command. You will have some idea. All right, so another thing, as I'm mentioning in the yesterday session itself, so every command has a lot of options, but every option you need to remember, because you always get the help message either from the internet or from the command line. You can always find the help message or help information, and using that particular help, you can always proceed. To really remember everything. At least I don't remember anything. So if you hardly ask me, so probably with at least some experience, I would remember some 50 commands without any hesitation. I can talk, but beyond that I have to think, and then I have to talk. So probably at 10 more I can go. But if you say options, I don't remember any command of some options. But other than the very regular command and its options, whatever I use, apart from that, I don't use any. I don't remember anything. Seriously, I don't need it. But because whenever it is needed, you can always go with so the help message and get it. And the same practice we'll be doing for every tool also, to really remember everything. So, and if you go with the certification exams like Kubernetes and all, is also, if you have observed, they don't really expect you to remember everything and do that. Okay, so they will allow you to go through their documentation and refer the documentation, and you're free to refer the documentation. From documentation only, you have to complete the exam, right? So that's how generally the work is done, right? So it's a common sense. Right? So you should be able to refer, because everything remembering is not a possible thing in a very short term, or even for a long term, it is not needed also. Okay, so yeah, just talking about these things. First thing in Linux you have to keep in mind is command. Okay, so certain commands are needed. Okay, so probably start with some 30 commands. might go little beyond. So with your day-to-day work, you depends upon your work, you might go with some more commands, but hardly you can easily remember those things. And because based on the requirement only, the command name will be there. So and easily you can catch it up even. Like let's say if I want to do a, if I want to check a server is alive or not, I'll do a ping. Command is ping. If I want to do a list of files, the command is ls. If I want to, so something like a remove a file, its command is rm. It's based on your need. The command name is also something similar. Okay, so that's where even it is easier to remember. So don't look like Linux as a as a ghost or something like that. I see a lot of people, so hesitate looking into Linux, but Linux is a wonderful thing. I'm betting you after a period of time you will definitely realize that you're doing the things so far on Windows is a very hard way. It's not at all a simple way and smart way. The things you're doing on Windows is much harder than the things you do in Linux. You will realize at certain day, but not today immediately, but over a period of flexibility, you will definitely realize that. Okay, so Windows is only for a beginner level operating system. It's not a professional level operating system. So for a professional, so Windows is not a so a solution, at least Windows desktop operating system. Yeah, whatever it is, you have very powerful utilities in Linux which you'll never find out anytime in Linux. Okay, so yeah, so coming back to the point, so let's start with the Linux commands. Okay, so the Linux commands which we are going to talk about from today, we'll start from the starting. So like yesterday we talked about only ls command. We'll just try to start again from that particular command. And you all know, since you already know that, so we are actually using the platform of Katacoda, right? So Katacoda, just for 1 or 2 sessions, we'll just flexible with Linux. Our focus is on Linux. Let's focus on Linux only. That server creation and other things don't button. Okay, first day don't take too much button. Okay, so that's where I am actually relying on Katacoda, and I already gave you this URL. Again, I'll ping it on the chat. So this in here we have a course, right? So just ping it on chat in case if you missed it. So yeah, and here we have Linux CLI syntaxes. I can just start this. And if it pop-ups you like this, you can just click on your sign up with Google. And if you're already logged into Google, it will automatically move on. All right, so start scenario. Continue. So these and all yesterday basics we talked about. And so here is from the page 3 or the step 3, whatever they call it as. So here we are having the Linux commands. All right, so the Linux commands are are basically when you enter into an operating system, so you get this prompt, right? So I think yesterday I didn't even did this. So I'm actually supposed to keep it as a hash here. That's okay. So dollar also no wrong, but just keep in mind, dollar is a normal user and hash is a root user. Okay, we'll see that anyhow. Yeah, coming back to the point. Now, whenever you log into a system, okay, so right now you're already getting a system out of box, but just keep in mind, so later we'll get some system server details, and we connect to the server and we get the same prompt. End of the day, we'll get the same prompt. If you just go to here, you see this. I was on some server actually just before the session. You can see this. I'm in the prompt. So yeah, right. So you connect to the machine. So how to connect and all, we'll see that. So but now here you're getting the box out of box, or you're getting the machine out of box. You just open this, and in the backend I made some code, so just to get it automatically, you're getting it. All right, and that's what this Katacoda platform will provide you. So to really burden about how to install your operating system, or how to get your operating system, to put your head around that in the very starting. But we need it anyhow. We'll go there. And to start with, so in Windows operating system, you open any folder, by default it will display you all the list of files, because it's graphical. You double click on that, it just shows you. But since it is a Linux, and it's a Linux command line, it will never show you by default. So you should ask what you want. Okay, now I'm going to ask my system that, hey, can you give me the list of files? And then you say that ls, it is giving me 2 files. Are we sure these are 2 files, or is a single file name with a space in between? We don't know, right? Yeah. So yeah, you can also go with ls-l. It's a long list option which is available, and it is telling you a 2 list basically. This is one line, this is another line. Now we have some clarity that yes, this is 2 files, right? So yeah. Now these are 2 files, and the 2 files information it is telling you. So this is some permissions, this is some size, who is the owner and the group owner. Okay. So, and don't bother about that, but just giving you some context that it gives you more information. It is showing some kind of properties if you use a long list. All right. ls command is the one which is a very widely used command for your day-to-day requirement also during the work. Without that, you cannot find out the files. All right. So that's where it's quite important. Okay. And yeah, so it has some options. -l is one option. And sometimes you need to deal with some hidden files also, and you can just go for -A. It will show you the hidden files, and also I can include that with long list also. Together 2 options I can give. Now if I'm giving together 2 options, it's showing me some more files. Previously it is showing 2 files, and now it is showing more files. And what is the difference between the other files and these files? These files are starting with a dot. These files are starting with dot. So any file inside your Linux, okay, if it is given or the name started with a dot, then that goes as a hidden file by default. That goes as a hidden file. All right. So this is how you can get the hidden files list also. All right. So yeah, so some options will be there. If you give ls-help, you'll find out a lot of options. Okay, you will look for the options whenever is needed. Okay, but in general, ls is fine, and ls-l is a quite common option which we are going to use in our sessions. All right, so that's about ls command. Anyhow, we already discussed this in the yesterday's session, and going to the next one. So I mean, like, let's say you take a bare operating system, you don't have an internet, you don't have any fancy stuff, you don't have internet, you don't have any also some kind of music, you just avoid all the fancy things. So you take a bare operating system, what do you do basically? Okay, so you do your work, right? So, and your work mostly goes around the files, isn't it? So the file could be something. Okay, so yeah, so now you have to know that how to create a file and how do you deal with the file. All right. So, and how do I create a file is, so there is a touch command which is available. And again, one more point, you can always do a single job with multiple commands also, multiple utilities also you can do. It's as simple as this. I'm talking about as utilities. All these commands are utilities. Okay, you can open google.com either with Google Chrome or with your Firefox or any other browser of your choice. Okay, but end of the day, the goal is same, right? So that's where okay, so these are all utilities. You'll find out alternate utilities for every requirement in Linux. Okay, need not to be okay, you need to know everything. So based on your need, what your choice, you can always go with that. That's your flexibility, right? So that's where the creation of the files can be done in multiple ways. You don't need to really go and follow use the touch command only. But yeah, I'm just giving you one way and widely used way. That's it, as simple as that. Okay. So the next command is a touch command. So to create a file, so touch and the file.txt. Okay, you click on this, that automatically the command will come here and will get executed also. Okay, and to check the file created, you can use ls-l. So you can check that the file is created. And one important thing you need to observe here is it created an empty file. The size of the file is 0. It doesn't have any content. Okay, so it just gives it just creates an empty file. All right, so that's how you do. You create an empty file, and also with the touch command, you can create multiple files. Touch sample I created, touch nodes.txt I created, touch lambda.py I created. Okay, so now if you just give ls-l, you will see all those files are created. Now, very important takeaway you have to do here So in Linux OS, there are no file extensions. Extensions are given only for your understanding. You gave these extensions like .json, .txt, .py. All these are given only for your understanding. It's not for system understanding. But in Windows, an extension is a kind of a mandatory thing. Okay, so without an extension, the things will not work. Okay, in Windows. But whereas in Linux, extensions doesn't really matter, and those extensions you have given only for your understanding. It's a simple file name. Dot is also included as a file name, so it is a whole file name. But basically in Windows, file is the only file name. .txt is an extension. Okay, pointing to which application it should open, isn't it? So that's how Linux is a quite different way here, and so that's how it is secure even. Okay, so yeah, so in Windows all the viruses come through these executables only, dot extensions only usually. If you look in internals, okay, the viruses, malware, and all come through those extensions only. Okay, but Linux and our native Unix machines doesn't really require these extensions. Okay, so those you give only for your flexibility, for your understanding. For your understanding, definitely you need something. So that's how you are actually giving it. That's nothing more than that. All right. So shall we move on? Or any questions?
Here I go. Actually,
Yeah.
I just want to ask one thing. Yesterday in the class, I missed one of the logic you mentioned that if it is ls hyphen, if it is a letter, that is called something. If it is a word, that is called something. What is that? Can you brief me?
If it is a letter,
Like ls hyphen l is a letter. Ls hyphen any word is there, that is called something.
Yeah,
What
the
is that?
options can be in multiple ways in Linux. The option can be so like this. Either you can give hyphen single character, that depends upon the command. If you give ls hyphen help, okay, let's say as an example. So now actually hyphen z is working at the same time hyphen context is also working for this.
Okay.
So that means it is hyphen single character, or if it is hyphen single word.
Okay.
So some softwares you are going to find out if you give hyphen help, you'll also find out hyphen single word also.
Okay.
Yeah, let me show you that. Yeah. So some products like this. Don't worry about the commands I'm giving. Yeah. Yeah. So now you just give Terraform hyphen help. So that depends upon this command. Now these commands are actually, these guys are giving apply, like let's say hyphen help. So now you see these guys actually asking you the options starting with a hyphen single character, hyphen auto, hyphen approve, right? So hyphen backup, hyphen compact warnings. So some commands you'll find out hyphen single word also. So that depends upon this command. So this command will have some of the options, but options in general you look like hyphen single character, hyphen single word, or even hyphen single word also you'll find it out. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Got it.
Yeah. So anyone, any other questions? Rahul, I'm not sure you're saying something, but I'm unable to hear you. Okay, all right. So the next thing is going to be how do you remove files? Okay, so how to create a file, but how do you remove a file? So remove a file going to be by using rm command. Okay, so rm sample, all right, and do ls, and that sample file is gone. Okay, So now rm, so lambda.py is there, right? But sometimes, usually with the rm command, you'll be prompted with yes or no. I'm just trying to simulate the situation with -i option. But in certain scenarios, you'll be prompted for yes or no. So in that particular cases, it is not even asking yes or no. It's actually asking remove empty file something, and you have to say yes, y or yes, anything works. So just you enter, and now you ls that lambda.py is gone. Okay, so that's how. Now it may ask you for yes or no, not all the times to remove the files, but you can suppress the suppress that particular warning by using rm-f also. So rm-f, like let's say that route.json file one is there. If it is asking for yes or no, so I can forcefully say that don't ask me. I can go with rm-f. Okay, so that's how you're having it. Okay, so sometimes if it is going to ask yes or no, you can give forcefully option, don't ask me, remove it, forceful option. Okay, you're doing it. But very important thing, be careful while removing, as it deletes all the contents of the file, and retrieving of the data is almost not possible. Okay, so be very careful while you try to delete the files. I mean, when you're deleting the files, be very, very careful. Okay, once you delete it, there is no guarantee that you will retrieve the data. Okay, so that's where be very cautious. In at least Windows, you'll find out some recycle bin or something like that. But here, it's pain. Okay, agreed. But still, you have to do consciously. Okay, both you should be using conscious and cautious. Okay, so you'll be dealing with the live systems in the real work. I'm really scaring you. That's true, because you are actually trying to deal with the live systems. So if something goes down, actually it impacts the business, it impacts the revenue. Okay, so we have to be very, very, it's a direct proportional to the revenue. Okay, so that's where we have to be very, very cautious while we actually do the work in the real-time situations. Lab and all you can play, but that's okay. You have to be consciously doing that. Okay, what you're doing, you should have an understanding. Don't blindly do something. Okay, so I see a lot of people blindly doing the things. If I go and ask them what are you doing, if I ask cross asking what is that option you are using, there is no answers. There will be no answers. Okay, so consciously what all the options you are using, you have to be very careful about them. And yeah, so whatever you are using, you should be knowing them and using them. Okay, or if you want to give a trial and all, you will have some test machines usually in companies also. Play there, understand it. Very important thing is you have to understand it, and then only adopt the usage. Until then, just don't go to the internet, you find something, you grab it, you paste it, end of the day. So something wrong will happen. So don't go into that kind of really scary situations. So understand it while you're executing, know the outcome. If I'm executing ls command, I'm expecting an outcome. What is outcome? I'm expecting the list of files. If I want that only, I'll execute it. If I want something else, I will not execute that, right? So yeah, as simple as that. So while you are executing the commands, be very consciousness. Okay, so yeah, all right. So the next thing is so I mean, I think you can explore certain things mentioned here. That's fine. So the next thing is copying the files. Okay, so how do you copy one file to another file? Okay, there is a cp command. There's a cp command. To the cp, you have to give some source and the destination. Now cp nodes.txt and pages.txt. Okay, so cp nodes.txt and pages.txt. So that means what happened, a nodes.txt file has been copied to pages.txt. That means copy means both the files will be there. Nodes.txt will be there and pages.txt also will be there. So two files will be there, and just simple copy, and that's how you do the copy. Your source and destination, source file and destination file. In Linux, everything is a file. In Linux, everything is a file. There are total 7 types of files. I think in the very first one I mentioned in the ls command, I asked you to explore the list of types of files in the system, right? Types of files in Linux. And In Linux, there are some types of files, and so yeah, everything is a file. Okay, so that's where I mentioned as a source file and a destination file. Even the directory here also is called as a file, but anyhow, I'll talk that in the directories. But just keep in mind, everything is a file in Linux. In Windows, you have some other concepts also involved, like you have registries involved in Windows. So that's a quite little different way. Okay, so the configuration all stored in a registry format in Windows. But Linux, everything is a file. Everything you need is something in the system is also a file. Okay, end of the day. So that's how, yeah, so you'll be having, and copy is quite simple. So CP command, and you'll be having a source and destination. So mostly you don't really require any options sometime, but yeah, so keep in mind that, so if destination exists, or just like sometimes, if the destination exists, it will ask you to prompt for yes or no that you want to override. But in that case, you can just go and give yes for overriding. Or even if you don't want to ask that one, so you have some options around there in the CP command, like forceful options. Just explore them, you'll be able to identify. Otherwise, CP command is quite simple as this: source and destination. Is that clear? Any questions? Questions, confusions? Yeah, if the destination doesn't exist, it's going to create it, right? So that's what it's going to do.
Hello, this is Murli. How can we write in the file? The size of the file is shows as 0, right?
Yeah, one by one. It will come.
Okay.
We'll go there. Yeah. Yeah, if the destination doesn't exist, it will create. If the destination already there, it will overwrite. So that's the nature of CP command. And there's also another question in the chat, Linux is case sensitive or not. So I didn't answer that question intentionally because I'll be answering that right now. Okay, so here is already mentioned here. Okay, so now I want to rename the files. If I want to rename the file, so then renaming the file. So here it's going to be by using mv command. Mv is going to mv is actually going to help you in renaming, and so yeah, now I want to rename this nodes.txt to node.txt. So I can just go and give again source and destination. So this is a source file. Now this is a destination file, but previously it was a copy. You'll find out 2 files. Now we actually are going to find out only sorry, let's write. Now you'll find out only node.txt. That's not no more nodes.txt. That's just node.txt. Okay. Now, very important point over here is, so unlike Windows, Linux file systems are case sensitive ones. So that means meaning the file node.txt and node.txt can be referred as 2 different files. But in Windows, FAT and NTFS file systems are case insensitive, meaning node.txt and node.txt are same files. You cannot create multiple files with the same name. You cannot create the multiple files with the same name. You try creating a node.txt and also try to create another file with capital node.txt, it will say that the file already exists. You cannot create it. Okay, but Linux is a case sensitive operating system. So that means you can create node.txt and node.txt, or even one capital letter, capital N, and ot.txt is also another file again. Okay, so it is a case sensitive operating system. Okay, and again the same scenario. So if the destination exists, it will override the file, and in some cases it will ask for yes or no to override the file or not. And so yeah, so again you'll find out the forceful options. Usually, any command you go for mv, like let's say I don't know, I want to have a forceful option, so then you can see this force option is there, -f. So cp -help, you'll find out again -f option only for force option. If you don't want that yes or no option to be asked, okay, so then you have this one. Okay, all right, so I think That's simply about mv command, about renaming the files. So this mv command is to move the file from one location to another location, and yet we are trying to use to rename the files. We're actually trying to rename the files, but still mv command purpose is to move the files from one location to another location. But anyhow, that we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, until here, this is the options. So cp command, mv command, rm command, cat command, four options or four commands we talked so far. Any questions on this? Any confusions?
Raghu, do we have a like command to clear the screen? Like that?
Yeah, just coming to that. Here it is.
Oh, sorry. No, I thought the screen was full and I came to the top of the terminal, right? So
right. Any other questions? Yes, Ailesh.
If I want to include data in the if I want
Ailesh,
data,
a lot of noise from your side.
Make it.
And your voice is low.
If I want to include the data in the nodes file,
yeah.
Then how can I make it so?
Yeah, we'll talk later. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So the next thing is, so you're going to be you are going to extensively work on this command line, right? So now doing everything kind of, so kind of something like, kind of a normal layman user is not gonna help you long term. You have to start look for the professional way of doing it. Okay, I would say this way. Okay, you should look into the doing it in a professional way, right? So when you want to actually do that, and there is some shortcuts which are available, like someone like Murali asked for, how did you clear the screen, right? So yes, and so these shortcuts will really help you in become like doing it in a things like in a better way. Okay, so that's where I have provided some reference links here. So anything is your choice. You can go to the internet and type on something on your own also is fine. So shell CLI shortcuts, you search for in the internet, you'll find out something. Now I just copied something from, I found interesting. So what are the options you have and what is the purpose of them? Okay, now whenever you find some time, at least a day, okay, so sometime, just spend like 10-15 minutes intentionally for this particular one. Even though you know the option, give it a try. Okay, even though you know that particular option, but start using that particular option. Or just after a couple of days, so you find out what all the things I can use, or first read it, and after a couple of days you try to go back and do a small cross verify that, so what are the best options I can use for my regular work. You will come to know, right? So what you are doing, and based on that, at least you think about what are the options you can use, and you can start using them. Okay, so that's where it makes your life really easy, and so just over the hands you can do the things much faster. Okay, so if I want to use a clearer screen, so then Control L is one option. If you would have seen there, so you would have found that particular one. And there's also another link I have mentioned. Okay, so anything is your choice. You can use. Okay, so do something. All right. So, but learn some shortcuts. So shortcuts makes your life easy. Okay, that's what I would suggest. Okay, and Sriman, you want to say something? Okay. Somehow I mentioned some. Yeah, someone saying yes.
Yeah, if we type ls, it will show the list, right? Instead of capital L and small s, if we type capital L, capital S, does it the same command, or
it will not work, right? Case sensitive. So the same answer applies to the commands. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you. So it's the same thing for all the commands like MV and
every command. Yeah. It's case sensitive, not only to the LS. It's a system, like it's a Linux system level things. Those are.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So I think this shell scripting guide reference is not really needed, but somehow I made it here. But that's more about some shell scripting related things. So that's okay. You can ignore this. Okay. All right. So now let's move on to the other commands then. Okay. So the next thing you are going to deal with the directories. Okay. So in Windows, how do you have the directories? So this is how you have the directories, right? You have C drive Windows, C drive program files, C drive documents and settings, C drive users, some C drive something. So these are all the system files. You didn't create them. When you install the operating system, those come out of the box, right? In the same way, Linux also has its own structure, okay? And so that structure is something on the left side you're seeing here. So here in Windows, you might start everything with the C drive, your main file system related things or system related things, right? In Linux also, it start everything with // the same thing like C drive. Here you have // but everything is // at least in C drive you have in Windows you have C drive, D drive separately, but in Linux everything starts under /. Okay, so under / you're going to find out a lot of directories inside that. Okay, and also the words are little terminology difference here. In Windows you call it as a folder. In Linux you call it as a directory. In Windows you call it as a delete. You call that as remove in Linux. Okay, some word terminology, but the meaning is same, isn't it? Okay, so that's fair. Here also you'll find out some more directories inside that. Not only this, you'll be having other more directories as well. Every directory has its own, own prominence in the system. Like C drive Windows has some prominence. C drive Windows program, C drive program files having some prominence. C drive document settings having some prominence. C drive users have something to deal with that particular directory, right? The same way, every directory has its own some prominence in the operating system. It is actually there for some purpose. Okay, so yeah, but whatever it is, you'll find out // under // there'll be a lot of directories inside that. And that // is called as a root directory. It's called as a root. Okay, so so you're just looking at tree basically, right? Tree where it end of the day where it starts with, it actually starts with the basic root, and tree has been built up on top of roots only, right? So that's where one single main root will be there. So that kind of idea is this one, root, right? So that's / and you have other directories inside that. Okay, so that's how okay, so it is called as a root directory. It's called as root directory, and you'll be having some subdirectories inside that. You'll be having some subdirectories inside that. Okay, so and also subdirectory can have another directories it will be having. Now let's say if I want to navigate between this navigate to this particular directory, so then how do you notate is you have to give /, home / lib / something like that. Okay, so just to show you something like this, it will be, let me write a small. Okay, so I'm just talking about here it is a /, right? Inside // you're having some directories like bin is one directory, and so what else you have, etc another directory, you have opt another directory, some directories like this, and these directories also need notated as /. Okay, bin /. means that's a directory. Okay, and etc having some, so something like, so some probably some dir1 and dir2, something like this, another directories. And so probably you have some file1, and here you have file2. Okay, now how do I basically notate this particular so path is, how do I notate this particular path is, it has to be something going like /, and then you're going to have /etc, and then you're going to have a dir one, and then file1. So this is how you give the full path. So this is root directory, this is etc directory, this is dir1, and finally the file1. Okay, so that's how it's gonna happen. All right. Okay, so yeah, and here we use /. Linux uses Windows uses /. In Linux we use /. So that's the one difference you will be finding. All right, so probably we can just, that's basically a quite introduction to the directory. So if you go into the commands, then you will be able to understand it. So now let's say, doesn't really matter where you, so first of all, where are you? So you open the system, you open a command prompt in Windows DOS. By default, it will open you some C drive somewhere. Okay, I don't really remember, but still some place actually it's going to take you to. Okay, the same way in Linux also, you logged in, it is actually, you'll be taking you to some location. What is that location? Is your home directory. So if you give pwd, it actually is a root user. Root is the administrator, right? Administrator home directory is /root, and that's where it is taking to /root. By default, it takes to that particular location. Or where are you? If you want to find out where are you, okay, so pwd, present working directory. Present working directory. So that's what it is. Now you can switch from one directory to another directory by using cd command. Change directory. Change the directory from one place to another place. Okay, so you can go with cd/bin and do so cd/bin and pwd. So you're actually going to have /bin. You're actually previously you are in root /root directory, and now you actually given /bin, cd/bin, and you move to /bin. Okay, so if I give cd/opt and pwd, okay, so you are in /opt because you switch to change to /opt. All right, so that is how you're going to switch from one directory to another directory, right? So you're currently in opt directory, right? Before coming to opt directory, where were you? /bin. Now, if I want to immediately go back to my previous directory where I was in, then there is another command, a shortcut can help you, is cd-. Okay, so cd- will help you to switch to your previous directory immediately. Okay, so now you're in opt, so it actually been changed to /bin. Now you're in /bin.
Raghu, I have a small query. Is it fine to ask now? Do you want me to ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. The default folders, which will automatically spin up in the Linux, like bin, etc, and temp, what those folders are used for? Like what those directories are used for?
So each and every directory has its purpose basically. So you need to start exploring it. All right. So if you want to know about the internals of operating system, so go and put like, so Linux directory structure explain. You'll find out a lot of websites. Basically, you can just read through what is each and every directory is doing. Okay. So bin, what is it's doing? What is the purpose? So then you'll start reading. You should start doing.
Okay.
Okay, so that's about so cd directory. And any questions on this so far? Any questions, confusions?
Raghu, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes, Rob.
Yeah, I think some problem with my mic. I was actually trying to speak from long time. Uh, I had a doubt from the earlier
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
explanation about the extensions you said. So you
Uh-huh.
said in Windows we usually give file name dot extensions, right?
Yeah.
And in Linux, there's no need of giving any extensions with a file name. It's just for our basic understanding.
Yeah.
So how does the system takes, I mean, how does the file stores, I mean, without giving the extension, and when we recall how the file is defined, like if it's a text file or a PDF or some different format, how does it store, like I mean, there may be some duplications, like there may be a same file name in PDF, in text, and in Word. There may be some n number of formats, right, with the same file name. How does the system recalls when we uh, trying to pull it up?
Okay. How do you think putting an extension will help you?
Uh, will get, when we recall it, will get the exact file, right?
Yeah. So that PDF means you're understanding that as a file name. Basically, it's a PDF, right? So you're understanding that. Even if it doesn't
Yeah.
have that PDF, also, if I keep the proper file name, so keeping saying that, so that it is that it's a kind of a file, but basically, that as a PDF, that's fine. Like for system doesn't really matter. Why? Because so here the Linux versus Windows, there's a small difference basically. Linux, or in Windows, what happens actually, that dot extension is really mandatory, because this .pdf in your Windows operating system is associated with one application. It registers one application. You install Adobe Reader or something. That application will go and register in the system saying that, hey, I will open .pdf. Now all your PDF files will be, when you double click on that, your Windows will try to associate to that particular application. It will try to open the application. So the flow, if you see here, the file will open the application, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
got the point?
yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
got it. Yeah.
now, yeah. So point I mentioned over here is, so now .pdf. So now let's say if I mean, now how the security issue is, if I mean how all these malwares and viruses guys will do is, so they will also put one more application of, so I'm taking .pdf, point to this application. So system doesn't really bother. So whether it is Adobe or some virus, system doesn't know about this. Okay, it's an application. That's it. Now that's how they actually, since from the file you're opening the application, there is a 100% risk here. Okay. Now when it comes to the Linux, is actually going a vice versa. Now your application will open the file.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So that's where your application is a PDF one. Okay. You open a PDF file. If you're opening another file, it will throw an error saying that it will not is not a proper file. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Thank you, Ravi.
Yeah. Anyone? Any other questions? All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about some useful options, which is dot and dot. So two dots and single dot is really going to help you a lot actually while you do your work. Dot denotes parent directory. So now let's say here if I make it like let's say /etc/ so some httpd some conf directory. Okay, this is the one. Now currently, like let's say your pwd is this one. Okay, your present working directory is so /etc/httpd and /conf. Okay, now to this parent, who is the parent for this directory? So conf is the directory, your present working directory, and it is its parent. The parent is this directory, isn't it? So conf is a child directory to, and to its parent is /etc httpd. Okay, so httpd under httpd it is conf. So that's where the hierarchy, and its parent is etc httpd. Now let's say if you are in your present working directory is /etc. Okay, and your parent is /. This guy is parent. Okay, so / is parent. Now this dot dot denotes parent. Now if you want to, now you are in this particular directory, so you give cd dot dot, that dot dot will take you to the parent. So what is the parent to this guy? Okay, cd dot dot will lead to /etc/httpd. Okay, and again you give cd dot dot, that lead to its parent. Who is its parent? /etc. And again you give cd dot dot, and who is its parent? It is actually slash. You go like that way. If you just want to jump into its parent one directory before, you just want to jump into one directory before, then you just use that dot dot or any notating cd you are using, that's fine. To notate anything about your parent directory, it is dot dot. It is dot dot. Okay, so that means if I just go and try to show you as a practical way, so cd / something like that, some directory. So pwd, so you are in here. Now what is the parent directory? So cd dot dot. Okay, now where are you? /var. And cd dot dot, where are you? /cd dot dot. You cannot go anywhere, that's the endpoint, that's a dead end. Okay, even though you execute it, no errors, no issues.
cd hyphen also does the same thing, right?
No, cd hyphen will take you to the previous directory. Okay, I was in one path and I want to switch to my previous path where I was in. Now, like let's say I'm in /. Okay, so cd /opt now. Now I was in /. Now I want to go to /. So cd hyphen will take you to /. I was in. Okay, I was in another path. I want to go in where I was. Okay, then it is /. It's not a parent directory here. Okay, so that's how so this dot dot really helps you in dealing with okay, so this dot dot really deals you with your parent directory, so really helps you in sometimes. Okay, and dot denotes current directory. Dot denotes current directories. Okay, now for an example, like let's say cp, I want to copy a file. So cp one file, I want to copy it as a /etc password. And if I want to copy this file as this same password file name, I have to type the complete thing. Rather than that, if you say dot, it actually copies in the same in this current location, current directory. It actually copies in. See, cp is actually going to give source and destination, right? Destination is the current directory you're giving. Current directory, if you give, actually copies that file and places in your current directory. Okay, and so that's how to really give the file name also. It can copy the file. Okay, ls, now you got password file. Okay, so yeah, so this is how generally you're going to okay, so use this dot dot and dot, so that with a little practice, that confusion, if anything you have, will usually go away. But you have to put your hands, then only the things will be clear. Until then, yeah, it looks like little gray area. But yeah, so with some practice, you start understanding it. All right. Otherwise, dot dot is a parent directory and dot is a current directory. So these are the two things which we use it most of the times in our, most in the sense, like sometimes basically while we do our work here. Okay, so any confusions here? Questions, confusions? So only cd enter will take you to your home directory. So your home directory will be there one. For every user, there will be one home directory. So just cd will take you to your home directory. Okay, so that's also another useful option. Now, if I want to create my own directory, so mkdir demo. So this directory has been created. You do ls, but how is it different? Like, how do I identify that demo is a directory? And so these are files, but how do I identify that? So ls-l will help you. Don't say that color. Color is also, yes, of course, a reason, but colors can be modified. If I don't like blue color, I can go and put it yellow. Okay, but by seeing yellow, you cannot say that no, this is not a directory, right? So yeah, And but ls-l command output is going to show you the very first character showing as D. That means it's a directory. The file types, okay, so there are 7 types of files, and directory is one type of file. And starting with D is directory. Okay, so hyphen, any file starting with hyphen is a regular file. Regular file means having some text configuration and things like that. Okay. All right, so this is what we have, and the next thing is you can also create your directory, but just by going with some structure also you can create. Okay, like let's say if I give mkdir, now demo directories are there. Inside demo directory I want to create a new, and inside that I want to give item 1 at a single shot I want to give. So but it will throw you an error saying that, you know, so some is not existing, no such file directory. So demo is there, but inside demo new is not there. So that's the reason item 1 cannot be created. So if you want to create everything, so then you can just say that, you know, so P. So P stands for, you know, so mkdir hyphen help. So P technically stands for parents. Okay, so it actually tries to create all your parents. Okay, and also sometimes it is a really useful option. No error if you will get if existing. No error also you will get, you know, no error also you will get it, you know, if the directory exists. Otherwise you will get mkdir demo, you will get demo already file exists, mkdir -p demo. So it actually uses in 2 options. So that's where always try to use -p option whenever you get some chance. But also at the same time, mkdir are actually going to create a multiple directories at the same time, and you can use ls-l. You will find out it just created multiple directories. All right, and yeah, you got the mkdir is pretty simple. You create a directory, and it creates empty directory. Okay, like a file, it actually creates an empty file, right? The same way now it actually creates a empty directory. All right, the next one is going to be is so the next thing is going to be is copying a directory. Oh, sorry, creating a directory. No, copying a directory. Yeah. So, but actually there's some mistake here. Create directory is something I have mentioned. This is wrong. Some mistakes are there. Okay. Ignore this. Okay. Now you can copy the directories. Now, how can you copy the directories? Like let's say cp demo 1 and cp demo, like let's say cp demo 5. Then what happens is it's actually omitting because demo 1 is a directory. So cp command purpose is to copy a file, but actually cp actually is copy a file, but you're actually trying to copy a directory, and that's where it's actually throwing an error. Okay, so now if you want to deal with a directory while copying it, so then you have to go for an option which is called as recursive -r. Okay, so -r demo 1 and demo 5. So that means demo 1 directory will be copied as demo 5, and if any content inside demo 1 will be copied to demo 5. Okay, so that's what is going to happen. All right, now let's say now I'm going to give demo 1 to demo 2. I'm giving demo 2 is already there, right? Demo 2 is already there. Now what happened really? Whether it overwritten or what it has done. So that's where the scenario comes. And if the target exists, it all depends upon the target. Okay, if the target exists and if it is a file, then it's an invalid operation. You cannot actually copy a directory into a file, isn't it? So that's illogical. And so that's where the target you know exists, and if it is a file and you're copying a directory, it doesn't make sense. That's an invalid operation. So for an example, if you just go and you pages.txt, it will throw you an error. Okay, so overwrite non-directory something. Okay, so that's not the correct way. Okay, then yeah, the next one is if the target exists and if it is a directory, then it copies the file inside the directory. Okay, so then what happened here? if the target exists, yes, demo2 exists now, and it is a directory, then it copies the file inside the directory. So now what actually it has done is, so the demo1 has been copied inside demo2. Okay, ls demo2, if I give ls of this directory, I'm asking, it shows the files inside that particular directory. Now it is actually having demo1 inside that. How does it got demo1? Because previously you copied demo1 to demo2. Demo2 is already a directory, and it will be copying that particular directory inside that. That's the action basically. And if the target doesn't exist, it will copy the directory. So if the target doesn't exist, like cp demo1 demo5, it will copy the directory. It will create a directory. Copy in the sense it will create a directory and it will copy the content. Okay, so that's the idea of copying. Any questions? So I see one question actually on the chat. I think this question came through on mkdir part. Though it won't throw the error, will it rewrite the old file? So can you just tell like at what point, Chaitanya, basically you asked that one? Yeah, when we do the mkdir, it will, I mean, mkdir, what will overridden, right? The directory is already there. Over creation will not be happening any problem, right? So, I mean, it is saying that it will not overwrite, right? It is saying that if it is not actually, if the directory is not there, if the directory is already there, it will not throw an error. That's what it is telling. It is not telling that it will overwrite or something. If you take a look, mkdir -- help. Actually, you see this, it's no error if existing. That's it. Is not never saying that I will overwrite. Okay, so that's it, nothing more. Yes, sir. Sailesh, you're saying something?
Raghu, small doubt. Can you explain the ls minus? Yeah. Can you? And
You have an internet
number
problem.
24.
Your voice is lost.
Just I can type it.
Yeah, type in chat. Okay, so the next one in the meantime, so the next option which we have here is mv command. So mv, a source and a destination. Okay, I see one more question also. If target exists and it is a directory, then it copies the file inside the directory. What is that question, Nikhil? Okay, so yeah, so if the target exists and if it is a directory, then it copies the file. That's what, right? If you see here, ls demo3 doesn't have any content. Now cp -r demo1 to demo3. Now the target is a demo3. Okay, and it actually matches this scenario. If the target exists, yes, demo3 exists, and yes, it is a directory, yes, it is a directory. And then what happens? It copies the file inside the directory. So that means the demo1 is a file. It just copies. Demo1 is a directory, but in the system side, it's a file. So it copies. So now ls demo3. So what happened is it copied inside demo3. Okay.
So Raghu, if you type ls-help, will show demo 1 to 4 or like 0, 1 to 3, or will demo 1 won't be displaying?
ls-l of demo3. Is that you're asking?
No, I just was thinking like it won't display the demo 1 as we copied the demo 1 from in 1 and 3, right? 2 and 3 just now. I thought demo 1 won't be showing, but we already had the demo existing, right?
Yeah, copy means always will be there, right? In Windows, if you copy, right click, copy and paste it somewhere, your source file will be gone. No, right?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next one.
How can we move the directory? Is it MV?
Yeah, next one.
Okay.
So we'll see permission structure later. There's a topic actually. We'll further topic here. You will see, and it is needed, mandatory. So the next one is actually going to be so MV basically. And MV source and destination. So you're having MV, a source and a destination, right? Now what happens, MV purpose is the move directories and files from one location to another location. It's not only the renaming the files, at the same time, it also can move the files from one location to another location. So now it also again depends upon the target again. Okay, if the destination doesn't exist, it renames the directory. If the destination exists, then the source will be moved into the directory. So now, from now on, so MV demo1 and capital demo1. Now capital demo1 exists? No, capital demo1 doesn't exist because capitals and small letters are two different things, right? So now you do ls, it actually renamed the file. So first scenario, if the destination doesn't exist, it renames the directory. Now it actually renamed the directory. But whereas if the destination exists, then the source will be moved into the directory. So that means if I just give MV, now let's say demo1, and if I give demo2 is a directory and that exists now. Now what happened, undo ls, so that's that actually, sorry, that ls, that capital demo is no more here. You see this? But where is it? It moved into demo2. All right, so that's how actually you're going to deal with this. So demo1 is moved inside demo2. Okay, that all depends upon the destination. Destination exists, one type of action will happen. Destination doesn't exist, one type of action will happen. So you should know that what you actually want, and based on that you should choose accordingly. All right, so yeah. That's what
it looks like yeah, MV and CP look like little similar, right? So
how come it is
previously copy hyphen r demo1 demo2.
It's copying, the source is already there. Source is there, the source is not moved, right?
Demo1 already moved demo2.
I don't know why. See, it's a very simple, right? So what is a copy paste, cut paste, right?
Yeah.
That's it. So CP is a copy paste and MV is cut paste kind of thing in Windows. Now how come both are similar? Not similar, right? Your source will be removed in terms of.
Okay, here it is removing completely. Okay, yeah.
Not removing, yes. Actually, technically talking about moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions? So that's about the basics of. One more command is also there, rmdir. Okay, removing directories, and if you want to remove some directory, there is something called as rmdir demo. Okay, you cannot remove this particular directory or rmdir, like let's say demo4. This directory has been removed. So what is the difference between demo and demo4? Demo might be having some content inside that. Okay, so ls demo, it is having some content. So rmdir can help you only in removing an empty directory. Okay, but whereas if the directory is having some content inside that, so that means any other files or directories inside that. But how to remove it? Okay, so how to remove it is just by using rm-r. Okay, rm-r and then demo now. So that's gone. It didn't got any error. Rm also will not help you directly. You have to use a -r option and rm-r. rm-r is removing that particular directory. -r option is mandatory. All right, so that is how You got it, right? So yeah, rm-r is the option which to remove the directory if it is having some content. rmdir is to remove the directory if it is an empty, and empty directory also can be removed by using rm-r. So single option you keep in mind. So rm-r is the one which you'll be using. That's it. Nothing more than that. All right, so that's all. Yeah. Any questions? Okay, all right. So we can take one more topic also today. So that is okay, or dealing with the file content basically. Now let's say if you have some files and it has some content, how do you see the content basically? Okay, so the very first command which you have is cat. Okay, so which is concatenating. So that means it will just dump the content of the content of the system, or sorry, not of the system, so content of the file on the output screen basically. So cat/etc password, it's going to dump all the content of that password file on the screen. That's what this cat is going to do. And some more options like cat-n will show with the line numbers. Okay, and there's also TAC command, reverse of cat, right? If you reverse the cat command, TAC it will become. So TAC means, so cat command will print from line 1 to 10, 1 to n, and whereas TAC will print from n to 1. Okay, now it's just been reversed, you see. So if you see cat etc password, what is the first line? Root. And what is the first line? Root. And actually TAC command was root was the last line. It just reverse the order. Okay, some cases it is also useful, TAC. Okay, and yeah, so that's all pretty simple. Like if you want to see the content of a file, cat command is the one which we use. But cat command is having some problem. Like what is the problem? If your number of lines is 1,000 lines, if your lines is 10,000 lines, if your lines is 1 lakh lines of a file, then just bombard the screen, right? And do we need all the lines? That's a question mark, right? Do I need all the lines? May not be. Okay, but I'm looking for some particular lines. And how do you start doing that particular filter? Okay, so if I'm looking for certain lines, and how do I look for that particular filter is and how do you look for that particular lines is here it is based on the line numbers. Now you can take the head command of /etc password. It by default gives you the top 10 lines, the file top 10 lines. If I'm looking only for 5 lines, then -n5, so it gives you the 5 lines. Or if I'm looking only 3 lines, so then n3 lines. So you get the top 3 lines. At the same time, so if you want to get the ending lines also, then also it is possible, like using tail command. Tail is last 10 lines, and like let's say if I want to go with the last 3 lines, again n3, so you get the last 3 lines of that particular file. So cat is putting every content, and now based on the line numbers, actually I'm taking it, and I'm taking the top 10 lines or top 50 lines, top 100 lines, top 2 lines, doesn't really matter. And from top it is head, and from end it is actually tail. Okay, so tail is from ending. Okay, so however the way you want, based on the line numbers you want to filter, you can do that filter by using this command. And whereas some scenarios you will be going with a word search basically. Now I don't want the lines based on the line numbers, but I want some output based on I want to search a word, and I want to search a word, and I want to print those particular lines. Okay, so okay, and how do you do that is the one command we have, the famous command which you have available is the grep command. Okay, so grep root from /etc password. So grep root from etc password, it prints all the lines wherever you have it having root. Okay, sometimes you have some application file and you want to print all the error lines, then grep error from that particular file, you get all errors on the screen. Okay, so it is easier for you to understand what is what, right? So you can filter based on a word search by using grep command. This is one criteria. So I'm just talking about the filter criteria. So how can you filter the content of a file by using the line numbers, by searching some word, okay? And also sometimes you can go with the column based filtering. So this is a column. So this file is a proper column actually. If you take this particular file, okay, so this environment is gone. It works only for 1 hour. Try to refresh once again. The expiry time they give is 1 hour only. Yeah. So the next one is this, like let's say cat slash etc password. You're having a file, and this is a proper content file. It's a proper content file actually. If you just go and try to one second, yeah. I just copied that content. I just brought an Excel sheet and I pasted here. You see it as a one column, okay, but it doesn't look like a table for you, okay. But actually, if you say that, you know, convert this particular data into, so take a delimiter between them. So the delimiter between them is, you know, so a colon character you have it, and put a finish. So now you see this, you got a proper table, the proper table, okay. So it comes like a proper table. If you just go and put some margins also, it looks like a proper table. But on the command line, it actually might not be showing you properly, but it's actually proper columned. It's actually proper columned file. Okay. Now, how do you deal with the proper columned file? Okay. So there is a AWK command you can deal with. Cut command is also there, but AWK command is much powerful. So that's where we are going to use. So AWK command, you have to give -f option and the delimiter. What is the delimiter? And also print which column you want to print and the file name. So you can just give AWK. So colon is our delimiter between this file, and I want to print the first field $1, and the file name is etc password. That's it. And if you want the first column and second column, so $1, $2. Okay, so and you should be able to get it. So this is how you can do the column based filtering. You can get the column based filtering in with the AWK command. Okay, so from here you are going to need learning about something called as a regular expression. Okay, so what is this regular expression? Is nothing but, like, let's say you know, so grep root from /etc password. You have given the complete word, right? But like, let's say I am actually looking for something. I want to search for you know, RO star. Okay, if any line starting with RO, and it could be anything else, I don't really bother. It could be anything starting with RO. I want to get those lines, or actually you're getting this line, or actually R is matching with everything. So you can just go with dot star. Okay, let's put R star only. Okay, so now wherever you have R and it is matching with the, you know, R matching with anything, it's actually printing those particular lines. R star means it matches with anything, it's actually printing those particular lines. Okay, so R star. Okay, any word actually, or like, let's say I will say that sbin star, sbin and star. Okay, so now you're getting all the lines wherever you have sbin and followed with something. Okay, so that's how this stars and all sometimes will really help you, or basically that is called as a regular expression. So I have given one link, so whenever you find some time, so probably just try to read through it and understand, you know, what is this you know, different characters you have in the system and how do they behave majorly. Okay, so majorly, you know, so some expressions examples are given. Just try to go through those particular things and you should be able to understand them. All right, so yeah, but also you can, or if you don't want to go with this link, just say that, you know, so in internet regular expression in shell, then you'll get some documents. So go with any of your favorite. I don't say, you know, you should only use this. So whatever you feel flexible of using it, you can just go with that. Yeah, I think mostly that's all for my side for today. So tomorrow we're going to talk about an editor. Editor is nothing but how can you add your own content to the file. Okay, so you require an editor. Yeah. And after this, you'll be having some more utility commands and followed with the pipe symbol. So, and then the day after tomorrow, we can start looking into some administrative related commands as well. Okay, and that's the idea. Okay, I think that's all from my side for today. Any questions?
Hi Raghu, this is Ramesh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually we joined today. From by when the actual classes will start? Actually, I thought these are the demo classes. I'm expecting the
Today is
actual
the
class.
first class. Today is the
Sorry?
technical first class. Today is the technical first class.
Okay, technically first class. Okay. So will I get this recorded session because since I joined little bit late?
Yeah, you got a link, right? So basically on the link, you click on join session. So
Okay.
just beside that, you'll find out a recorded
Okay.
session. Just take a look.
Okay. Okay. In that case, today is the first class. I can go from today onwards. Is it correct? I don't want
Yeah.
to listen the yesterday's and day before yesterday's classes.
To get some context, yes.
Okay.
Better go through.
But whatever you discussed in those 2 days, you can discuss after this class also. I think later on.
No, I didn't get you. Sorry.
Whatever you explained the last 2 days, I will get those classes after this class also. I think when you start
From the
explaining
recording,
about
you can
this. Yeah.
go through the recording. You'll get some context.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
But
you.
technically, topic was talking about is from today is the first class.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone? Any other questions? So once again, let me ping you this particular Katacoda URL again on the chat. So this is where you'll find out the Linux basic commands. Okay, so I'm putting in the chat if someone missed it. So take this URL. Any questions?
Raghu, not from this class, but you asked us to create a AWS account.
Yeah.
Last month. Yeah. Just
We'll use
it.
it mostly day after tomorrow. Start using it. Yeah.
No problem.
So since it takes little time, so I just asked you to upfront go and create it. That's it. Any other questions? All good. Hoping all good. All right. So yes, Nikhil. Some questions is good at least.
So do we
for example, do we need to know which file has tabular content or like database file or whatever? Is that how important is that to know based on your commands? How you are extrapolating information into column, how you were extrapolating information in Linux into columns. I guess my question is how important is for day-to-day DevOps type of activities to know that this file has columnar data. Yeah, tabular. Yeah.
So it doesn't really say if you just so it comes with an experience, right? So when you are actually dealing with the things, so you will come to know that if you're dealing with an application and the application is actually storing the data in a tabular format, okay, so you will come to know about that, right? So yeah, so with the experience you will come to know. So I don't think so it's completely needed on the DevOps side. It's pretty basic on the operating system level. So yeah, so whether it is a tabular file or a normal file, by looking into that, you should understand that in general. Yeah, I think that's not a big deal. So I don't think so you can put some confusion out there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Raghu, can we upload, like in Windows, we copy the external files, right, in the directory or folders? Can we do that in Linux?
Can you do that in
This Linux command?
You can.
So some external Excel file we can copy into the directory what we have it, right?
You have the directories, right? So like let's say mkdir demo, if I give ls, so cp or like let's say cp/etc password is one file, assume whatever the file it is, and you copy it into demo, so then ls demo, so you copy that particular file into the demo directory. So it's not only the source is not only the directories, it can be a file as well.
Okay, good.
Any other questions? Yeah, Venkat. Yeah, Nikhil, you're saying something.
How about go ahead.
Yes. Say external files means, as earlier you was asking the question. Say if you insert any our CD or something like that. Say how to go to this, moving to the directories, and so because here in our Windows it is a C drive, D drive, E drive, and specific types. How about in the Linux?
So if you put a CD, you'll get a directory automatically, and you'll go into that directory. That's
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So CD/mount is, I think in this system, it's not really having it, but usually you'll be having /mount some directory, /mount or I don't or yeah, it's been a decade actually I used around CD-ROM. Yeah, but yeah, so it's a directory. You'll get something as some concept called as mounting. I'll talk about that later. Yeah, so it will get mounted into a directory, and that's where you'll be able to just CD into that particular location. Yeah, it's actually /dev/CD-ROM we call it as. So ls-l/dev/CD-ROM. If you have CD-ROM, you'll get the device here. So at least this server doesn't have a CD-ROM. And I hope we are nowhere in CD-DVD world. We are far ahead, right? Yeah. But your point is correct. So anything you mount, like let's say your question can be an external hard disk or an external pen drive you plugged in. So then how do you get into that? Yes, it's also a CD. You'll get a mount actually. Yes, Nikhil.
Yeah, that was my question. I mean, if I have on the server, I want to upload something like a flat file from my local system.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it. Anyone? Any other questions? Okay, all right. So no questions. So we'll meet in tomorrow's session. Just practice well, and so hopefully you should not get any kind of queries while you do the practice in the Linux basics. But if you have anything, we'll just let me know in the starting of the session tomorrow. We'll take them and we'll proceed with the remaining topics. Okay. Thank you, and see you tomorrow. Bye. Good day. Good night.